Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for checking out this video here on Show Style and Spirit. I am Ebony, of course, and in today's video, I am giving you a recap of episode 3 of season Sweet 16 for the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So we're going to get into all of the scenes. I feel like out of the first 3 episodes, this was probably the slowest one, but still there were some important moments to highlight. Now, before we get into it all, I ask that you please hit the like button on this video and please subscribe to the channel. And everything that I'm saying in this video is alleged and just my opinion. So the episode opens up with Britt having a dinner with her husband and his side of the family, including Britt's sister-in-law. And during this time, Britt is talking about how unfortunately she lost her dad and she had to start a GoFundMe to cover the funeral expenses because they could not cash out on the life insurance policy that he took out. She gave the reason that he was between jobs. So, in my opinion, I'm guessing, unfortunately, there was a period where he stopped paying on the insurance premium. And that's why they could not collect, because it's not like in the beginning of a mortgage process where you have to document your work history. If you purchase a premium insurance policy and you agree to a monthly premium pay, what would be the issue if you switch jobs? The insurance company, they wouldn't even know that or care as long as they get their money every month. So I'm guessing that Britt perhaps was a little embarrassed to say that, the payments on the premium stopped. So she just said that he was between jobs. And so that was unfortunate. And she said that because she had to start the GoFundMe, that was really her motivation to start an insurance company. And Britt actually tried to work with her sisters. She said that one of her sisters became angry when she decided to sell the business and she walked away. Meanwhile, the other sister, Britt, had to fire her after she said she got really relaxed and kind of big headed, I guess, in terms of her attitude and work performance. So Britt had to fire her. Business is business. Kudos to Britt 80 that she would even attempt to do business with family. If you watched my short that I made about Toya Johnson Rushing and her brother Walter, I said I would never do business with family. So kudos to Britt that she did give it a try. Then her and her sister-in-law, they had a one-on-one where Britt was telling her because, she did combine business with family. Now she's not as close with her sisters and they do not hang out like they did previously. And the sister-in-law said, we shouldn't even be discussing business and, you're not being as close with your family members together. She said, so, we need to work on that. And I like how the sister-in-law, she wasn't being messy. She actively listened to Britt and gave her some very positive and neutral feedback. So even if Britt's sisters are watching this show and they see this episode, they don't even have a cause to be at odds with Britt's sister-in-law because she's actually encouraging Britt to try and, fix that relationship. So then we see a sit down between Porsha and Kelly. This actually had like a really comedic feel. These two, they have some good chemistry. Porsha said during her interview with The Breakfast Club that she and Kelly have like a love-hate relationship. And I can definitely feel the love because I thought it was funny how they talked through their issues and they were just like, fun shade at each other, poking fun. I think they almost nearly laughed at each other's digs at one another. Then at the end, they had made up. So Kelly was saying to her, I'm going to have basically an all cast event coming up, which we'll get to. And she wanted to have a one-on-one with Porsha prior because she didn't want any drama at the event. It's going to be serious. And I thought that was very smart of Kelly. And I'm glad that Porsha agreed to meet with her. Now, Porsha is going to somehow try and blame, Kelly asking about Fallon and Simon. She's going to try and blame it on Shamea. So Portia sits down with Kelly and asks her, do you really think when you first meet someone that you should ask, why did you take that girl's husband? And Kelly explains, well, I first asked it with your best friend Shamea and Britt. The three of us were hanging out. And Shamea told me, that's something you should ask Portia when you see her. So what Kelly did not tell Portia was, Shamea, remember from episode 1, Shamea said, I'm not gonna talk about my friend. I'm not gonna participate while you're gonna be shading her. So I'm just gonna say, when you see her, that's something that you have to ask her. You have to ask her that question. Don't ask me. That is what Shamea said, having Portia's back. But Kelly just said, well, she told me to ask you when I see you. So Portia then goes, are you telling me that my best friend told you to ambush me at her birthday party? And I'm like, come on now, Portia. It was not anything about telling Kelly to ambush you. And Kelly really, she kind of softened it up, but not really. She was like, oh, I don't think that it was like that. I think she was just telling me to ask you. So once Kelly realized that Portia was willing to blame Shamea for anything, Kelly kind of went along with it. I guess Kelly really wanted to be in Portia's good graces again and not have beef, especially at her event coming up. But I don't like how Portia was just so quick to blame Shamea for something. I believe now that Portia knows deep down within that the viewers we would really take to Shamea. And she knew that Shamea would fulfill the whole title of Real Housewife of Atlanta. She knew that Shamea would bring it. And I think that she's trying to kind of make her look bad, trying to combat Shamea's light, if you will. But it's illuminating, Portia, and really there's nothing you can do to stop it. But by the end of this scene, Portia is saying to Kelly, I thought that you were a troll. You were trolling me, but now you're my treasure troll. And Kelly says, oh, am I Poppy? Am I Poppy? If you watch the Trolls movies, that's like one of the characters. But so they were able to laugh it off. And during this scene, Portia did say to Kelly, girl, you got a bunch of different personalities and I ain't met them all yet. And Kelly said in her confessional, she says, I have a bunch of personalities. Well, she's had a bunch of different men. So what difference does it make? So I like Kelly more and more. I think that she's quick-witted. She is quick-wit as like a Phaedra Parks. Probably not a lot of people are as quick-wit. I think that like Kenya can definitely match Phaedra's freak, if you will, like the song. But Kelly, she's getting there for sure. I like her. So cute scene. Then we see where the ladies meet at a recording studio with Drew. Dennis was not there. If you are subscribed to Drew Sidora's YouTube channel, she was live on YouTube and Instagram Friday night, which was the day of her album release party, and Dennis was with her. And I watched until like I fell asleep. So they definitely, have a strong working relationship. I'm not even going to insinuate that it's anything physical. Sometimes I wonder though, like, how is she paying for the songs? I'm just kidding. I am just kidding. That's just a little jokey joke. Definitely alleged and just a little jokey joke. Okay. I'm just playing. She makes plenty of money between her movies and the Real Housewives of Atlanta, where she can pay for the studio time and pay the engineer and pay the producers and the writers. She may even write some. Dennis may write some. She said in this scene that all of the songs are paid for. So it sounds like Dennis has invested all of his money into this production. And you can watch a review of her music on Scotty by Nature's YouTube channel. He reviewed her album and said that it is amazing. Well, anyway, back to the episode. So Kenya asked, is Dennis coming here? And that was the intro to Cynthia and Kenya telling her, you should have ran it by Porsha that you were going to be working with her baby daddy. And then in Drew's confessional, she talked about all of the text messages where she said she was trying to get a hold of Porsha and Porsha is brushing her off. Then they were going to have dinner at Nobu and then Porsha canceled. And then they go to Cynthia's confessional where she says, that you should have picked up the phone and verbally told Porsha over the phone what it was. And I definitely agree. Just like Drew, just go ahead and tell the person. But this is giving pattern. We were first introduced to her using other people's stuff with Sheree's assistant, who, in my opinion, was very messy. And then that was drama. He would tell Sheree's business and he would tell Drew's business. And by the reunion, he was back cool with Sheree and just totally trying to embarrass Drew. Then fast forward to the last season that Candace was on the Real Housewives of Potomac. She did a song with Drew called Affirmations. I love that song. You can listen to it here on YouTube, on Candace's YouTube channel. And after working with Drew, Drew actually recruited someone on Candace's team without talking to Candace about it first. Candace brought that up on the Real Housewives of Potomac. She didn't think that was cool. So then I'm like, okay. And then now, present day, she's working with Porsha's baby daddy. And then there's going to be another person that she recruits from Porsha. We're going to get there in a moment. Also, Angela Oakley, she downloaded the ladies on her workout session that she and Drew had with Shamea. And Angela Oakley, I really like her. She said she's nearly 6 feet. Heavenly said that she's beautiful, statuesque, is 6 feet as well. And I know a lot of people love Angela. They seem to love how down to earth she seems. And I definitely feel like she is a professional Black woman. And we're going to get into her real estate efforts. And so I think that she has a lot of variety to bring to the show where different people from different paths will be able to relate to her. So very smart choice on behalf of production. Now, she seems a little exaggerated when it comes to Shamea. She was like, and she stormed out of the gym. I don't know, did she storm out? I don't remember her storming out. I felt like they just left. But she just talked about how she told Shamea that, basically she was Porsha's spokesperson. And she told the ladies, she skipped the part where she had met Charles Oakley 10 years prior. He asked her for a phone number, never called. But when Kenya and Cynthia asked, how did you meet your husband? Angela said, he was my neighbor. He met me on the elevator, asked me for my phone number, and concierge, would tell me I had people watching him. And she said, if you are interested in someone in an apartment complex, definitely get cool with the front desk so that they can tell you that person's coming and goings. Now, I thought that was a cute little joke to say, but I feel like in real life, if you have to snoop or, be sneaky, then you already know what time it is. So I don't know if Charles Oakley was a player. He is a retired NBA player. So I would imagine, yes, there had to have been like a lot of ladies, But if you're willing to deal with that, then I guess, hop to it. Couldn't be me though. So then we see Shamea film a scene with her sisters. And Shamea talked in her confessional about how she doesn't tell people half of what she's going through. And it kind of made me sad because on a level that's like self-betrayal, where you are ignoring your challenges, things that you are dealing with right now. And I don't know if Shamea assumes people don't want to listen. But she said, I'll help you solve your problems and I'll just ignore mine. And I don't think that you should do that, Shamea. I think that you should totally put yourself first and everyone has to understand. She's so thankful for her two sisters here because they've helped her like take Shia to school on time, help her with Shiloh when she was in and out of the hospital with, a dozen surgeries. So I'm glad that she has a support system, and I just want her to always affirm herself, speak up when she does need some assistance. And, of course, this is her life, but I think she should do whatever is best. I don't want her to give in to any pressure to have another baby, She even said herself, I don't even know what the future holds with Shiloh. So I'm like, I wonder maybe if you should maybe wait another year or two or three to see where everything is before you bring on a third child. But that was, my take. I love how we're getting serious storylines from mainly two people, Shamea and Angela Oakley. And in third place, I would say is Kelly. With Portia, I feel like she's pulling back when it comes to Simon. And Simon, he was the most talkative one until he got detained by ICE. And he's super talkative on Instagram, of course. So then we see Angela and Charles Oakley. They are at one of their rental properties, and it looked really beautiful from the flooring to the fresh paint. And Bravo Production had the graphic at the bottom. It said 9 months later. So I guess the contractor, it sounds like the contractor may be working. I don't know if it's on all of the properties simultaneously, or if it's not, then he's just been working on this one home for 9 months. We don't know what shape it was in prior, but I know that he totally redid the bathroom, and he was in the kitchen working when Bravo cameras were there. So I guess it was just like a lot of work. I know sometimes with new builds, you hear that these builders can put them up in 6 months, but hopefully, they're still doing it well. But when you think of a brand new home being built in 6 months, and this was renovated in 9 months, it actually makes me think on the new builds, like, I hope they're not missing anything. My gosh. But Charles and Angela were talking, and Angela was saying how she wants to do a vow renewal, especially because when they first got married, they were separated. She told a story in her confessional that it was because, and I must admit, I like laughed out loud. Like, he was at a game in Madison Square Garden, and I don't know if he was being obnoxious or what, but he got kicked out of the game. And I guess he was like banned from Madison Square Garden for a year. I was like, how did he get kicked out? Was he like yelling and cursing at the refs? Was he being a troll? Had to have been. The only other person that I know this has happened to is the actress Gabrielle Union. Like, there was a particular referee that she had like beef. She had like beef with every time he was working a game that Dwayne Wade was playing, and she would like get into it and she'd be saying stuff to him. And so every time that ref is working, she's not allowed to be at the games. So, child, my goodness, what do people be saying to these referees? They're just doing their jobs. But anyway, Charles Oakley got kicked out of Madison Square Garden, honey. And she said at that time, there was nothing she could do to help him. Her words were, I could not help him heal. So my question is she holding some more details back? It's got to be more. Because why would you say, I couldn't help him heal from getting kicked out of the arena, or you couldn't help him heal from something else? Like, was there like a substance involved that led to his behavior that got him kicked out? I feel like she's only giving bits and pieces. So I don't know, like, if she doesn't tell the ladies this, then I guess we won't hear more until the reunion. But for those of y'all who submit questions to Andy Cohen for the reunion, please ask a follow-up question to this, because I feel like she's not telling us everything. So then we see Drew meet with her attorney. This was an interesting scene. So Drew said that, well, the attorneys said a lot too. They both did. They talked about how they've been waiting to get Ralph's financials, but he hasn't submitted them yet. So the process could be a little further along, but he hasn't done it. And the attorney said, well, the one time he sent a bunch of documents, when I went through them, half of them were your finances. And Drew said in her confessional, I just don't understand. He has access to my money, but what is he hiding? I actually said out loud while I was watching, I was like, maybe he doesn't have anything to disclose. Now, we know that Ralph Pittman has worked in IT, or at least that's what he told us. So if he has been a corporate dude, I assume he's been participating in a 401k. And if he's been participating in a 401k at the minimum 3%, his employer's been matching, he's about 40, right? 35. That's several consecutive years participating in a 401k. He should have some money up in there, unless he does not participate in the 401k or he has been doing withdrawals. But they have to get to the bottom of this somehow. I wonder, like, one of my friends, when she got divorced, her attorney made the husband do a deposition. Can't you like do that to get to the bottom of it at least? I don't know. For those of you who work in the legal industry or you've gone through a divorce, please let me know, what methods could Drew use to get to the bottom of Ralph's money. Then Drew's attorney mentioned how he was a serial cheater. The attorney she was spilling the tea. She said that Ralph allegedly was a serial cheater. And she said that he took some money out of her account, tearing a page out of Martell LeVar Holt's book. And then the attorney said that women was DMing Drew and giving her information regarding Ralph. And then Drew said that they had a hearing for their divorce. Ralph showed up without a divorce attorney and was like questioning, cross-examining Drew. I thought to myself, this is so ghetto, just like his ghetto podcast, Ralph in the Basement. He just doesn't respect Drew. He thinks she's a joke. And he thinks this divorce is a joke. It appears as though he's not taking it seriously. He won't disclose his financials to Drew's attorney, and he was cross-examining Drew. He thinks it's a joke. I think that's very weird. But I thought this was a very eye-opening scene. I'm glad that Drew filmed it with her attorney, and the attorney was ready to spill it, baby. So then we see where Shamea is taking Shia to the hospital to have her tonsils removed. This scene actually reminded me of Porsha's spinoff, Porsha's Family Matters, when Pilar had to get her tonsils removed. And Dennis and Porsha, they stayed at the hospital, although their relationship, the co-parenting relationship, was highly strained because Porsha had just previously tried to fight him in Mexico. If you got a Peacock subscription and you're in the mood for something ratchet, I suggest that you watch Porsha's Family Matters again, baby, okay? That is what I did when it was Christmas time and I was sick. That's what I was watching, baby, okay? And it just breathed health back into my bones. But definitely, this reminded me of when Pilar had to get her tonsils removed. And Gerald I guess he must have met them at the hospital, but he was there as well. And they showed like Shamea's cell phone video where she showed Shia's dad, Gerald. So then we have this scene with Porsha and her mom, Miss Diane. If you've been watching the other amazing content creators in their live chats, people were talking about Miss Diane bad talking Shamea. Before we get into that, I do want to point out that Porsha was explaining how in the benign culture, I guess that is the town or the ethnicity of Simon, in addition to him being Nigerian. She was saying that when there's a pending divorce, the family actually does try to get involved and see if there's anything that they could do. So Porsha said that she reached out to Simon's family, his older uncles, his younger cousin, and she said that they told her that they did not want to be involved and to continue to let the courts do their thing. We also learned in episode 1 that when Porsha tried to reach out to Simon about the divorce, he told her that he did not want to communicate with her anymore. So she seems like, I don't know if she wanted to try and reconcile or if she just wanted to try and speak to him and his family to make the divorce not be messy. But that's just not in him. It seems like once he knows that you're dumping him, he seems to be hella petty, in my opinion. Now, in this scene, Porsha brings up Shamea, and Diane is like, you have to watch that dog that brings you the bone. And I know you don't want to hear this because you and Shamea have been friends since you were teenagers. And I just thought that was so left field for her to say that. She was like, you're going through a freaking divorce, trying to convince Porsha that Shamea is not there for her. But I hope Porsha is watching these episodes so that by the time they film the reunion, she needs to say, okay, I've been tripping. You've been there. Because I'm like, why is Miss Diane not seeing it for Shamea? I wonder, like, if she wishes some of the choices or the life that Shamea has, does she think, well, Porsha deserves that? I want to get to the bottom of that. Maybe at the reunion, it will be discussed why Miss Diane, has such a negative tone for Shamea. What do you think? Do you think that there is a reason, perhaps something Shamea did that made Miss Diane say that? Or do you think it's because she's just always so pro Porsha, never tells her anything that she could work on, that's why she was just kind of like saying Shamea's wrong, 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 and you're right, right, right? Let me know in the comments. So then we see the last 10 minutes of the episode. They're at Balmain, a high designer store, purchasing items where some of the proceeds went to the OI Foundation. OI, it stands for a couple of really big words, and basically it's also known as brittle bone disease. And 3 of Kelly's daughters have the brittle bones disease. And she told everyone at the event her story of having a little infant. Her baby Chance was 6 weeks old when she noticed that something was wrong with her arm. Her mother took her to the hospital, and after the baby was examined, the police were called as well as CPS. She said that the police were blocking the door so that she could not leave. After the doctor did a more thorough examination, he said that the baby has the brittle bones disease, or OI, and then that's when Kelly was free to leave the hospital. She got emotional while telling this story. And I feel a couple of ways about it. One, I'm thankful that the police and CPS were there looking out for the interest of the baby until they got to the bottom of it. And then, at the same time, I can just imagine Kelly's trauma and anxiety. I would have been freaking out, number one, to have a 6-week-old baby and something is visibly wrong with her arm. I'd be worried, like, is she in pain? And because she can't talk, she can't tell me. And then I'm at the hospital, and now the police and CPS are here. Now I'm really freaking out. So I'm just glad that the doctor was able to correctly diagnose the baby in a timely manner, and that the baby was not taken from Kelly. Now, a lot was happening at this event. So Porsha walks up, and Kenya's like, I am so surprised that you are on time. And Portia's like, well, this was a 15-minute face because my makeup artist is also Drew's makeup artist. And once Drew realized, because the makeup artist disclosed to her, oh, I'm also doing Porsha's makeup today. And Porsha said that Drew started moving extra slow. So I guess this is what the makeup artist told Porsha. So by the time he got to her, it was a 15-minute face. And Porsha said she also couldn't get her hair styled. She said, but I made it and I was on time. I also think that Porsha is really trying to be cool with Kelly. She was super duper late for Shamea's birthday party. I know that there's the possibility that production told Porsha to come super late, but she was on time for Kelly's event and said that her hair was not styled. But the shade was coming from Angela Oakley and Shamea. Shamea gave it her all. I think that Shamea may be a little too nice to really be like a girl that can read them down. And that's okay, because you can only be yourself. That's totally fine. But Angela Oakley, now she can read. So they said a lot in this scene. I thought it was entertaining. I thought that it was funny. I could tell it was getting a little heated, and then they went their separate ways. And I think that that was good too. At one point, Angela was telling like Cynthia and Kenya, she said, I don't really like the insults, but I'll go there. And go there, Angela, you most definitely did. So they were talking, and Shamea was like, I'm good on you because you're speaking for Drew. And she was saying, with your 1999 nose, your retro nose. And Angela said, okay, Flavor Flav. And in her confessional, Angela Oakley said, because some people were thinking that that might be a colorist statement because Shamea is a beautiful chocolate sister. But Angela in her confessional said, no, Flavor Flav was like the biggest hype man. And so Shamea is Flavor Flav and Porsha is Chuck D. I know that Chuck D is a rapper, but I'm not familiar with his music. So he's not the same as KRS-One, right? All I know from KRS-One is that when Tupac died, he wrote his 10 reasons why he felt like Tupac was still alive. That was all. I was 16, and that's what I remember about KRS-One. But I know that they're separate from Chuck D. When Angela said that in her confessional, I was like, okay, not all of us are going to know about Chuck D, but we get Flavor Flav because of his reality TV show, Flavor of Love. But in any event, Shamea said that, Angela Oakley got a Jackson's nose looking like LaToya Jackson, and her or Porsha was like, hee hee. I thought that was funny. I laughed out loud. And in Britt's confessional, she was like, I was trying not to laugh, but Angela do look like LaToya Jackson. So I thought it was entertaining shade. They weren't straight up mad at each other because they did go their separate ways. But I feel like in those moments, Shamea and Angela gave us some good reading back and forth. So I thought they did pretty good. Now, also at Kelly's event, we see briefly Drew and Shamea talking, and they made up. And Shamea said, and maybe you can talk with Porsha as well. And then so the episode ends where Drew is trying to get Porsha to commit to a hard day and time for them to meet up. And Brooklyn is like, my mommy says she's going to text you. And, Portia's like not paying attention to Drew. And Drew's sister, Allison, was there. And Portia's like, Drew is trying to, make me commit to talking with her because her sister is here. I do not think so. I'm not going to be dealing with them. And then the episode goes off. But we see in the upcoming previews is that we're going to see things get really heated between Kenya and Britt. And then Kenya is announcing that she's going to do her grand opening for her hair spa. So I think we're inching closer to, the moment that's going to get Kenya off the show. Because if you noticed in the opening theme, Kenya's not there. They totally ripped all of her confessionals away. They're treating her like not even a friend of the show, because even friends get confessionals like Cynthia. It's kind of heartbreaking and tough to watch. So, ugh. And then this week, I think that this was just yesterday, Monday, March 24th, Kenya posted Traitor for Porsha because Porsha is friends with Britt. Now, Kenya and Porsha have never been really close, so it wouldn't really surprise me. And I told myself if the tables were turned, Kenya would probably be cool with Britt. Like she wouldn't feel super loyal to Porsha. They've never been super close. They have been cordial. They have tolerated each other, and that's pretty much it. I'm not saying that, it's totally cool for Porsha to, I guess, choose sides or choose Britt's side. I don't know. But it doesn't surprise me because she and Kenya have never been close. But what did you think about this episode? I thank you all so much for checking out this video. Please hit the like button on this video and please subscribe to the channel, as it is a free way of supporting the channel. And I thank you all so much again for watching. And I hope that you have an awesome day, and I will talk with you soon. Bye.